Welcome to Untying Knots, end of season 3. Today we have an amazing story. Lyndon is going to talk about his cheating story and why married men and men in relationships cheat. Hi, Lyndon.
What's going on? Look, we have not told my side of this story since we started this podcast.
We haven't.
I've told like some things here and there, but I never like shared my whole story. So this would be fun.
This is going to be real good.
I feel like I'm a guest today.
Yes, you are.
On my own show.
So let's get right into it. I want to really talk to our viewers and really get into the who, what, where, when, why. Like everything. Don't miss any details.
I got you. Come on.
So let's start from the beginning. Like, what led to the cheating? How did it start? Was it resentment? Was it disrespect? Was it couldn't keep your dick in your pants? What was it?
So let me get some context first.
Yeah.
Let me set the stage. So me and my ex, we have been married for 6 years. We had dated for like almost 4 years before we got married. So we were together like 10 years total approximately. So like, I want to make it clear that like, I love my wife. Like when we got married, we were at the altar, like I set my heart on her that day. And I didn't set my heart to be like perfect, but I did set my heart to be like, you know, for better or for worse. Like I'm a be here for her. I committed every fiber of my being to her. So for me, the relationship we had a good marriage. I would say out of 6 years of being married, like 4 were honestly like good years. Like the last 2 years, it went from like bad to worse. So what happened for me was, this was probably like a couple years into the marriage, maybe year 3, where she got pregnant with our second child, with our son. And she didn't want to get pregnant. She had just weaned our daughter. She wanted to get her body back. She was tired of breastfeeding. She wanted to get back into a work mode. And she did not want to be going through the cycle of being a stay-at-home mom all over again. And so when she got pregnant, she wasn't happy about it. And I remember she told me that she was praying for a miscarriage.
Wow.
You know, and that she didn't, and I don't know if she meant that literally, but I took it literally. And so when she said that, I lost respect for her. And that was really the genesis. Like that was the beginning of the snowfall for me. Because for me, you know, respect is a big thing for myself, but for guys in general, like women want love, guys want respect.
Right.
And I lost respect for her because I was like, what type of mom prays for the danger of her child? And I was like, my child's
really the death of it.
Yeah, I was like, my child's not even safe in her womb. The womb should be one of the safest places for a child. And I was like, and there's nothing I could do. So I didn't, at that point, I didn't look at her the same. Simultaneously, I had got my dream job. So I told y'all this before, like I was making $500,000 a year. So between like making all this money, I'm traveling all over the country. I have a great job, an official title, you know, I have a family, a stay-at-home wife.
Yeah.
Like,
let's
I'm
talk about that.
Life.
So stay-at-home wife. So you were protecting and providing for her.
Yeah.
She was not working at all.
No.
Okay. Because I know y'all in the comments gonna talk shit.
No. That our arrangement was, my wife was a stay-at-home mom before I even made that money. Like I was making $65,000 and she was a stay-at-home mom. We made certain sacrifices to make that work, but that was how it was out the gate. Because we got married 6 months later into our marriage, she was pregnant. Our daughter was born on Christmas. I think she stopped working like the week before delivery.
Wow.
And then from that point on, she was a stay-at-home mom until we got divorced. And so I wasn't making like crazy money and taking, you know, and where she became a stay-at-home mom. That's what we wanted from the jump.
Yeah.
And, you know, my role was to make the money, to take care of the house. And her role was taking care of everything in the house, the kids, the cooking, the cleaning. She'd pay the bills. I never paid a bill. I didn't do laundry. I didn't cook. I didn't do none of that.
Wow.
So, but she also didn't do anything outside of the house.
But you were an active father.
Yeah.
You were changing diapers. You were helping out. You were doing all that.
Every doctor's appointment, going with her the whole way through pregnancy, showing up at every appointment, waking up in the middle of the night, changing a diaper, helping her with breastfeeding. I mean, I've always been like that. You know, there are times where one of our kids be crying in the middle of the night. She didn't want to get up. I would go get the child out the crib and soothe them back to sleep. Mm-hmm. You know, like, no, that's always been my mode of operation. Like, I love my kids irrespective of my relationship with their mom, you know.
So it sounds like whenever she talked about getting rid of the baby, then that was like kind of like strike one.
Yeah, like I never looked at her the same. So between like, man, my child's not safe in your womb, how could you wish something like that? You know what I mean? Like, that's my child too. It's not just your child. That's my child too.
Yeah.
And then I'm making all this money, so my ego was inflamed. Like, I was talking shit to my wife back then too. I wasn't like, I don't want to make it seem like I was like this great, gentle, loving husband at that time, because I was really more of an asshole.
Yeah.
Because my ego was like, I'm making this money. I'm the hottest nigga out here. Nobody's touching me. I'm all over the country with it. My investments is up. Like, I was like really moving, like nobody was seeing me like that. And so my wife, I was probably the most verbally abusive at that time with her too. Right. So it's like, I don't want to make it seem like I was like this great loving husband providing for her. And then she said this to me and then it slid. It was like, I had became somebody I had never been before because of external factors.
Yeah. Okay. And then what happened? Because I know there was also verbal abuse, but she would also put her hands on you.
We had a very toxic marriage. My toxicity was verbal abuse. Like she'd say something I felt was disrespectful, I'm popping off. And if you know me, I'm popping off like all the way. Like, I'm not just going to say a mean thing. Like, I want you to feel like you're dying. Like, I want to hurt you. And so I would say something crazy to her. And then her way was like, we don't got to talk about it, nigga. Put the hands up. She's like, I'm going to put these paws on you. She was like Aaron the plumber. You know what I'm saying? So like, so that was our toxicity. We each contributed. It was like, I'll pop off. She's like, oh, stop the talking. Put them hands up. And then that's kind of how
and that, would you say that was kind of like how she grew up and it was part of issue resolution in her home?
I mean, I don't want to kind of get into it about her per se. I mean, we all contribute our own toxicities to our relationships. You know what I mean? And there were red flags of my signs of toxicity in the beginning that she ignored in me and that she chose to overlook because of her love for me and the potential she saw. And the same for me. Like, I saw those things while we were dating. It wasn't like we had our first fight or first argument when we got married. So I knew what I was getting into. I chose to overlook certain characteristics in herself and myself because of the love that I have for her and what I wanted for us in the future. Part of marriage is like two people coming together to spill their toxicity and make a mess, but do they have enough love to clean up together? And I think that's a lot of times where a lot of marriages go bad, is that both people are spilling toxicity in their marriage, but nobody wants to work to clean it up.
Yeah, and then it just keeps happening.
Yeah,
and it just adds. It just adds more to the.
It's a cycle, and now and then it becomes generational. Then you transfer that onto your kids, and then it just keeps going around. So, but yeah, there was a shift. So when that happened, I started to look at her differently, and I started to look away from her for the first time. Like, I've always gotten the attention of, I don't want to say always, at this time in my career, because I was making money, I was buying nice suits,
Yeah, because you kind of had a little metamorphosis.
I had a little come up at that time. I hadn't hit my physique yet, but I was, you could tell I had a little bag on me. It wasn't a secret. So like, there was always like attention from women, but I never entertained it because I was committed to my wife. I'm not about to fuck up a good thing. I got Shorty kids, at home. She's pretty. She's exotic. She got curly hair. She has beautiful skin. Like, our sex was good. Like, her vibe, her energy, spirituality. Like, why would I mess that up?
Babies are exotic.
Yeah, I had everything I needed. So
she's Puerto Rican, by the way.
Yeah, she's a Boricua. So I never entertained it until that moment. And so then at my job, I had an executive assistant, young teen, like 22, 23, real fine type shit. Real fine. And so like we started to like flirt a little more. It's like how it started, like innocent workplace flirting. And she would like say like wild things to me, Angelica. She would say things like, oh, I can't wait till you get a divorce so I could fuck you.
Wow.
And I'm like, I'm going through it like in my marriage. I'm like, hell, you talking to me kind of reckless. Like,
yeah, that is reckless.
I'm a nigga that'll do it.
And you did.
I was like, I don't gotta get divorced for us to fuck. That's what I was thinking.
Oh my God.
I don't gotta get divorced. We can fuck. We don't gotta tell her. And that's another part. Like, I feel like some guys, they cheat not because they don't love their wife,
but the opportunity is presented.
You know what I mean? Like sometimes like it's just like a person can't be 100% what you need 100% of the time.
I
It
agree.
can't be all things all the time. So it's not like, oh, I don't love my wife or I want somebody else. Or a lot of guys do love their wife. A lot of guys do want their family. They're kind of just bored.
They want
the
an appetizer
mundane.
on the side. Yeah.
What if you ate the same food every day? Wore the same clothes every day?
I know, it sucks.
Like every day was like literally the same. We have diversity in every other aspect of our life, but when it comes to our marriage, you're not allowed to have any diversity. You know what I mean?
Unless you're in a non-conventional relationship or marriage.
You're supposed to mix it up in the marriage, right?
Yeah, spice it up with what? Wigs and fucking whips and chains.
Try different kinks.
I mean,
you know,
that's gonna get
different
old.
places, different stuff. But like, let's be real, it doesn't really go down like that in marriage.
It doesn't. No,
you're not like.
Well, you're stuck in a routine, and sometimes you almost have to say, hey, after work at 8:00, we're going to get it in. And then sometimes it doesn't happen because you got so much going on.
And is it sexy to schedule the sex?
Not at all.
You know what I mean? Like, but that's what it becomes, especially if you're having children.
Yeah. And they got to go to bed, baths and all that. Yeah.
It's so difficult to like keep the excitement in your sex life in a marriage. It's way easier just to find a new thing that gives you that little spark.
I used to go to my ex's job and fuck on his desk.
I mean, yeah, look, in the work from home era.
And they knew. They're like, oh, the wife is here. Everybody earmuffs.
Like, that's what I'm saying. Like,
I mean,
you got to spice it up and get outside the box. But we both know, like, in marriage, you're dealing with other things or you're preoccupied with other thoughts that you're not really thinking about how I can turn this up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
then what happened with the assistant?
Okay, so with her, she was talking reckless. So let me give you a story. So one night, I had to work late. And so I told my wife, like, yo, I got to work late. She's like, what time will we be home? I don't know. I'll let you know. Now, I did have to work late because I had a huge project to get done. And I told her, I was like, I need you to stay with me so you can help me get this done. She was like, how about I order pizza? I said, great, I'll get the wine. Now, my office was like on the 5th floor, had a big windows, curtains, like real nice type shit. So we in there, we're working, playing music. And she was sharing songs with me and all this and that. And then all of a sudden, she gets up. She had her white blouse on. She like unbuttoned it, like 4 buttons. I'm like, damn. She closed the blinds, closed the curtains.
This is like Suits type of shit.
It was really like that. It was really like that. And she was like, I don't understand why we just don't fuck. And I'm sitting there like,
wow.
I wanted to lay pipe to her so bad. Like, don't get it wrong. I didn't cheat that night, and it's not because I didn't want to. I wanted to lay pipe to her.
Yeah.
Like I wanted to just like tear her down, like in my office, like fuck up my keyboard and my mouse and everything. Dead ass. But I didn't, only because it was too close to home.
Yeah, and you have a lot to lose.
I had a lot, my job.
Yeah.
My marriage.
Your money, your bag.
My reputation, because I was, you know,
she ain't got shit to lose. People. She's an assistant.
No, for her, like, you know, there was nothing for her.
Assistant, we're talking about you.
You know what I mean? Hey, she's still fine type shit.
I'm sure.
So I didn't do it because the risk outweighed the reward.
Of course.
You know, I did my cost risk analysis and I was like, I don't like this one. I don't like this one. That was the only why I didn't do it that night. But after that, you know, my wife did not like her. I remember she came to the office one time. I introduced her to all my coworkers.
Oh, wow.
She was like, I don't like her. I was like, what's wrong with her?
She's pretty?
She's great. She's like, no. I could tell by how she looks at you. She's like, mm-mm. She was like, I would like it if you limit your communication with her. I was like, I can't do that. She's my assistant. I mean, we work well together. She does a great job. You know me.
Of course.
Like, she's a great employee. It's hard to find good work these days.
Wow. But that's women intuition.
It was. I mean, she probably knew something was up, but to me at the time, I interpreted it as, you know, it was her insecurity. But she knew. She knew
something was up.
She knew like something was like, I don't like this one. But
that's not the woman you cheated with.
I did not. I mean, I wouldn't even call that an emotional cheating. Like I wasn't texting her, so we weren't like cyber.
It's just a little flirting, flirting.
It was just like
it is still cheating.
It was to escape. It's like
it's a micro cheating.
My marriage was in the beginning of dissolving.
The end, yeah.
In the beginning of the corrosion of it, and so work became like an escape. You know, home wasn't too fun. I had a wife that I wasn't really vibing with right now. My kids always love them, but you know, they were very young. They required a lot of work. But the workplace was where I could go and like find fulfillment in the work I was actually doing, but then also like have fun with a little side ski. And
yeah, because attention is attention. Yeah. You know, you may not necessarily be, you know, laying the pipe down, but having that attention and having the idea that somebody desires you is appealing.
It is.
It really is.
And it became more appealing
as time went on. Got worse. Right.
But that's what it was for her. It was just like, here's somebody who wanted me, who desired me, who was like being intentional to like go get it from me. And then part of me is like, maybe subconsciously with my wife being a stay-at-home mom, maybe I looked at her differently too because she wasn't pursuing an ambition. You know, she's a smart, educated woman.
She's not at the office with her makeup and her hair done.
Like, my ex-wife is like she's a very smart woman. Like, she could
and
be
she's a very beautiful woman.
Yeah, she's cool. But like, I think her being at home and always seeing her in a mom state, and then like seeing this young working girl,
of course,
I found that like, you know, subconsciously attracted too. So there's like all these like little, you know, marks of not attracted to my wife at home, finding this attractive at work.
Right.
But that was like the beginning of like where I realized, hey, I'm looking outside of my marriage for the first time. And I started to ski down that slippery slope. But yeah, she was fine shit. She was real fine
Shout out to the assistant.
Shout out to her. Yo, so I'm not married now, so we want to pick up where we left off.
Hit us up. Okay, then what happened? What's next?
So after that, I get laid off from that job, right? So that really hurt me because I started to
because the bag is gone now.
The bag is gone, but also I formed my identity around my job.
Yep.
You know, like my job title became part of like who I was. The money I was making was part of like who I am as a person. And so to have that taken from me, it was like I lost for some time. Like, who am I? What am I supposed to do? If I was really meant to be this or I was good at it, I wouldn't have got laid off. So I really like was struggling like psychologically, emotionally, financially with like, you know, what to do next and who am I? Now I got a player severance package. I had saved like hundreds of thousands of dollars from my salary, invested. So it wasn't like a strap for cash. Like, you know, one day you're making money and next day it's none. But it was more like, well, there's no income coming in.
Yeah.
What am I going to do next? And then my ego was totally slashed from me. So I talked to my ex-wife, told her what was going on, obviously, what happened. And I didn't get the emotional support, the affirmation, or the encouragement that I needed from my wife at that time. So this was like, if the second pregnancy was like the beginning, this was like the second part, like stage 2 of drifting from her. So I just felt like very abandoned by my wife because she was kind of just like pat me on the back, like pick yourself up by the bootstraps. When I really needed her to help me, to be like, hey, I know this is hard, but I'm with you no matter what. We're going to figure this out. Yeah. We're in this together. What can I do to help you? Do I need to go back to work for a time? You help with the kids at home until you figure it out. That's what I needed. I needed a partner to help me figure it out, to get things together so we can continue to advance our family. I didn't get that.
You didn't get that.
What I got was, you're going to figure this out. This is on you. You're the man. And she continued to live the lifestyle as if we have $500K coming in.
Wow.
You know, Amazon Prime didn't stop delivering. Organic, baby, this and that. None of that slowed up. So I felt a lot of pressure, a lot of stress, a lot of emotional abandonment. And that's when I was just kind of like, yo, like I'm in this on my own. And then, you know, we started to fight more, have conflict, argue more, like nagging.
When did the sex ever stop?
No, I mean,
not
like,
for you, right?
Me and her, we fucked all the way to the end.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I can remember the last time we had sex and it was terrible.
So we ran a poll on Instagram and 80% of people said most men cheat because they're not getting any sex. That was not
my situation.
That was not your situation.
No. I mean, in our marriage, we had what I called a convenience store policy, which is basically
you get it when you need it
for both of us 24/7. And unless it was like you were really tired or she was on her period or something like that, you could tell each other no. But in general, we did not tell each other no. She can get it from me when she want, how she want. I could get it from her. And no matter if we had a fight
policy.
it didn't matter. Like we could be arguing earlier that day. And that night, if I felt like, you know what, I don't like how that went, I want to make it up to her. I really desire my wife sexually tonight. And I was in that, you know what I mean? Or vice versa. Like, so I didn't have the sexless experience, but a lot of guys do. Because a lot of guys, you're dating this woman, you guys are having a vibrant sex life while you're dating. Then you get married, it slows up, or you have a kid, it goes away, you know, or maybe you're not as attractive. You don't find her as attractive anymore. So maybe you just don't even desire her body. It's like, oh, like, I don't, the skin, the marks, and this, that, whatever guys are into.
Whatever, yeah.
They're like, I don't want it. And then they start looking outside and they see pretty teens. So, I mean, that is a lot of guys' situation, or, you know, women will leverage.
But also, women use it as leverage.
As leverage.
And that was one of the worst things that I think that I did in my marriage.
Okay.
I would hang it over his head. And obviously my ex cheated as well. But yeah, that was my MO. And I was like, oh, you ain't getting any.
And guys do the same with money, right? Like guys will leverage money in a marriage to make a woman dependent on her. Women will leverage sex in a marriage to make him
do whatever
what she wants him to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or not do. So
absolutely.
That wasn't my situation, but I understand how guys feel that way. And that's a dangerous risk to take. If you're going to yield sex against your husband, you should be prepared for the outcome that he might go seek it somewhere else.
Right.
Because just because you aren't fucking doesn't mean everybody else isn't.
Somebody will give it up. Yeah.
And that was how I felt my cheating experience. Like, just because you don't want to do something doesn't mean that somebody else won't do it. What you're not willing to do, somebody else is. And don't think that there's not a line of women outside for like a good dude. There are women.
Yeah.
They are available and they are waiting.
And they don't care that you're married.
No.
Women don't care when men are married. No. And I said this before and I'll say it again. Men with rings have been pre-selected to be husbands. So we already know. You guys are tagged by the ring.
Yeah.
So us women, if we see a married man, we are more attracted to a man that's been selected than a man who hasn't.
That's so there's like a joke. Like when a guy is single, it's like he has to work to get women. And then you get in a relationship or you get married and all of a sudden it's like, where was y'all at when I was
grocery store, gas
station,
just start coming at Walmart, Home Depot.
Yeah. I don't, I'm still trying to understand how that works.
Listen, some of y'all single ones should be wearing bands. You get a lot of play if you wear a wedding band.
Yeah, it's risky.
It's risky.
But yeah, that wasn't we didn't have an issue of sex in our marriage. That wasn't it. Our issue on both sides of the fence was emotional. It wasn't sexual for us.
So you mentioned you felt abandoned. Mm-hmm. And so you felt alone. You felt, I have been providing for this woman. I have been serving this woman. And in my time of need, she's gone. She's not there for me. So how did that escalate to the next part?
Okay, so it escalated because our relationship wasn't necessarily getting better as far as us coming together emotionally. It was just growing apart. Like I felt like she was always nagging me, getting on me about certain things, pressuring me. You know, I wasn't giving her the emotional support she needed. I wasn't complimenting her. I wasn't like being sweet to her or doing like the nice little gifts or taking her out on dates anymore. You know, so emotionally we started to disconnect. And so with that happening, you know, I'm looking for a job, and then I ended up getting a job out here in Houston. And so we were talking about this pre-show. Some guys, it's like premeditated cheating, right? Like they're on dating apps, you know, and they're setting it up.
Let's get into that because there's a difference.
Yeah, they were like setting it up. It's premeditated. They were looking for something. In my situations, I wasn't going out premeditated cheating. It's just like bitches were clucking, and then at one point in time, I decided to cluck back. So when I came to Houston, I was staying at this hotel out here, and I was just working out in the fitness center, and I was in there by myself, shirt off, nice and sweaty, you know what I'm saying? And then like in walks in this pretty young, fine thing.
And then, okay, so before we get into the pretty fine thing, you were down here with a job already looking for a house.
Yes.
So you had landed the job in Houston, and now you were looking for a home to bring your family to Houston.
Yes. Okay. So I got here, I flew in on like a Sunday, and as soon as I touched down, 2 hours later, I went out with my realtor. I'm out looking for a house with him. And we go and see a few houses, and then I call my wife, and you know, I tell her how the day went, and she's like, well, you didn't pick a house? And I was like, nah, this one's too far. This one's over budget. Didn't like this or whatever. And mind you, I'm in real estate.
You're a real estate
This
guy.
is what I do for a living. I know how to identify the right place to be. And so she spazzed out on me. You don't work hard for your family. You don't care about us. You left us. You're so irresponsible. She's like laying into me. And I'm like, girl, I just got here. I did what I said I was going to do. It wasn't the right house yet. It's day one. You know what I mean? Like, give me some time to find the right
to see what else is out there. Yeah.
But she was just kind of like pouring all this negativity on me. And maybe she was stressed. Maybe she had her own anxieties about the move, the situation that she wasn't communicating to me. And it was just pouring out because I had been leading us down this path of toxicity. Mm-hmm. So, it's a reflection of my leadership and my relationship. So, but she was just spilling all this negativity on me. So I'm just like, girl, enough is enough. I'm trying my best. When have I ever not tried for our family?
Yeah, wow.
When have I ever not shown up for our family? When have I ever not been dependable? Like, even in a hard situation, I'm going to figure it out. Help me figure it out. That's your job. Help me. Don't just like put it all on me and make me go do it so you could just enjoy the fruit of my labor. So that was day one.
So would you say that was like strike three?
That wasn't strike three, but that was like, I felt like at that time, like, I'm damned if I do, I'm damned if I don't. It's a catch-22. If I do what I'm supposed to do, she's mad at me. If I do what I'm not supposed to do, she's mad at me. Mad. So what the fuck does it matter to me? And if all that I'm doing has yielded you to say I'm doing nothing, all my hard work over all these years, I've given you 100% of everything I had, and you say you never do anything, you never do this, you never came through for that, then my all means nothing to you. So in my mind, what do I have to lose at this point? A wife that nagged me? A wife that's unappreciative? A wife who doesn't help me? Big deal.
Right.
I'm willing to risk losing her to find what I need. So an act of self-preservation to give myself what I need. And I'm not saying what I did was right, but I mean, a part of self-love is selfishness. Yeah. And I made a selfish decision to love myself, to give myself what I needed in that season of my life, even if it didn't come from my wife, because it wasn't going to come from my wife.
Yeah.
She wasn't the peace I needed. This is kind of the thing, like when you talk about like compatibility and picking a spouse or husband or wife, the degrees, the salary, owning your own home, having your own car, none of that shit really matters. What really matters, like, can a woman bring you peace in a time of chaos, of uncertainty, when you're anxious? Can she be your love when you're grieving, when you're going through a loss? You have to bury a parent. Is she supportive? Is she a place of comfort? Is she a good mother? Is she nurturing? Is she spiritual? Can she guard your heart in the right direction to do what's right, to do what's good? Can she empower you to live out your purpose without insecurity? Yeah. These are qualities that really matter.
Yeah, issue resolution.
Exactly.
Communication, compromise, all that.
So those are things. And that's what I was not getting. But then when I got here and I met Fine Ski at the gym, she was actually giving me those things. And you know how in life, like, you can meet a stranger and they do more for you, like, in a short amount of time than somebody you've been locked in with for a grip? That's the situation it was. Like, she gave me in 2 weeks what my wife hadn't given me in 4 years.
Wow.
And that's nothing against my wife, because I lacked on her too. But like, that's what I received from her. So in self-preservation.
And that's what happened.
I got what I needed from somebody else. And I needed that. Like, my ex-wife would say that woman was a home wrecker. She was a devil, a demon. To me, man, she was a soul builder. She was an angel. She was a gift from God to me.
Yeah.
I don't see her negatively.
So she was at the gym.
She was at the gym. She walked in. I was blasting my music. I apologized for having the music on. She was giving me that look. I'm real player type shit. So I knew how she was looking. I knew she was looking at me. So we just had a little talk, this and that. And she gets on the treadmill, and I wanted to talk to her so bad. And so I get on the treadmill next to her. I just start being extra peacocking on the treadmill, like running backwards and side shuffling, like, to get her attention.
Thank God you didn't fall.
And she's like, "Oh, how do you do that? Can you teach me?" So I was like, "Yeah." She's like, "Get on my treadmill." So I'm like on the treadmill behind her, like, God, holding her waist, like, "Yeah, do this, do that." So we started to talk or whatever. I asked her for a number. She was like, "But aren't you married?" Because I had my wedding ring on. My family picture was the background of my phone. And I was like, yeah, it's complicated. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
My wife's not here. They're all back in Indiana. And she's like, okay, well, I don't want to be a home wrecker. I was like,
Oh,
no,
she
no.
did say that.
She did say, she's like, I don't want to be a home wrecker. I was like, oh,
Nah,
girl,
you do, girl. You saw that ring when you walked in.
I was like, we already wrecked our own shit.
Yeah.
We ain't wrecking nothing. We ain't wrecked.
But see, it's interesting that she said that because she said that for her own comfort. She saw the ring on you. Because when she was looking at you, she saw the ring. She knew what she was getting into.
Yeah, she knew it. I didn't lie about it. I didn't hide it. I didn't like take my ring off to try to slide. I just said like, yeah, I am married.
That's
it's
the situation, yeah.
My wife's not here right now.
We are.
You're not messing up nothing. Trust me, you're not messing up nothing. So I was honest, and she knew what she was getting into. And plus, you know, she was only in Houston for 2 weeks. She was from Colombia. She lived in Barranquilla. So she was here for a work assignment for a couple weeks. So there was really like, it wasn't like a long time type of situation. It was just like.
So you guys started hanging out. And eventually one thing led to another.
For sure. So I get a number. I go back to my room. I call my brother. I tell my brother everything that just happened. I'm like, bro, you won't believe the fine shit I just seen in the gym. I'm telling the story. I was like, man, yeah, I'm talking to her, got her number, and I'm about to link. He was like, man, I know you're going through a hard time, but don't do it. Nothing good is going to come out of it. I know the marriage isn't perfect right now, but like, I'm telling you, man, like, just make a smart decision. Don't risk it. Don't risk a good thing for some fun. You know, he's just talking to me like that. I was like, you know what? I love my brother. He's always had my back. I was like, you're right, bro. You're right. So we get off the phone and I hit her up like, yo, what's good? What you on tonight?
What we doing?
I'm like, you trying to leave? I'm free.
Yeah.
So I hit her immediately. We started talking. And so from that day on, I saw her every day. We like, it might be a small thing. It might.
So was it like 6 days? It was a week?
I got to Houston on a Sunday. I think I met her on like Tuesday or Wednesday. So like if I met her on Wednesday, that night I met her downstairs in a hotel for dinner. The next day after work, we went to the gym together. On Friday, I forget what we did. We did something on Friday. Saturday, I took her to a vineyard. Sunday, I took her to the movies. Like, and then by Monday, she had to go to Dallas for work. So I didn't see her the next week.
So on which night did you smash?
The very last.
Oh, okay. Okay, so
last.
it wasn't like right away.
No, because once again, sex was not a problem in my marriage.
That wasn't what you were seeking. And it was the attention.
It was the emotional. So it wasn't just me like going out, having fun, drinking wine at the movies with this girl. It's the conversations that we're having in between those dates. Those dates and those encounters was just like the icing on top of the layers of cake that she was making for me. It was her like, you know, once again, I was married. I was telling her about my marriage. I was literally opening up to her about the problems in my marriage.
What you were dealing with.
And she would be like, she would be affirming and accountable. She would tell me like, this is what you did wrong. You need to understand women think like this. This is how she wants to feel. You haven't been complimented. How do you think it feels to be a woman and be married and your husband hasn't told you that you look beautiful in months?
Yeah. Yeah.
She's like, that hurts.
Yeah, 100%.
I've never been told that.
So I'm going to ask you something because I know everybody wants to know. How did it feel to have sex with another woman after being with the same woman for 10 years?
Oh, it was probably like some of the most erotic sex I probably ever had in my life. Mm-hmm. It was different because once again, sex is sex. It
was new.
Okay, doggy is doggy, missionary is missionary, reverse cowgirl is reverse cowgirl. Right. The positions, that's not what really does it. It was the emotional bond. Right. So even though I was having sex with my wife, we had a good sex life. The emotional disconnect
wasn't there.
Just kind of made it so we were just having biological sex, like fulfilling our physical needs as sexual beings. But it wasn't so much like at that time in our marriage, it wasn't for me, it wasn't so much like the sex was like, oh my gosh, my beautiful wife, I'm so passionate about, oh, this divine coochie, put it on me. It wasn't like that.
Right.
But with her, because I had built this emotional bond with her.
And she was giving you what you needed.
That made me desire her so much more. So when we actually did have sex, it was like I'm picking this chick up. I'm like, I'm an animal. You know what I mean? Because it was the outpouring of emotion. It was the outpouring of my hurt from my wife. It was the outpouring of my feelings for her. And I got all of that out of me in a nut.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's interesting that you say that. So the first time I had sex after 10 years of having the same dick, for me, it was like a spiritual awakening. I talked about it in another episode where I had never felt that type of energy. And the same thing happened like that too, because I had built an emotional connection with this guy that I had met at my new apartment building.
Mm-hmm.
And he was at the gym, all this stuff that you're saying. I saw him at the pool. I saw him at the gym. He was playing with my kids, all this stuff before it happened. And for me, I felt like a totally different person. And I felt things I never felt with my ex-husband in 10 years.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Did you feel guilty in your conscience?
Well, I had sex. I was already divorced, but I literally needed to fuck my ex-husband out of me, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Because I had been with the same man for 10 years and I didn't cheat in my marriage. I thought about it a lot of times, but when I actually physically did it, it was almost like I was free.
Yeah.
I was free from his ties, from his, just his aura in me. I'd been with this man for so long.
Yeah.
But I felt alive.
No, I could kind of feel the same thing.
I felt alive.
Like a spiritual awakening is probably the best way to characterize it.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of how I felt like my soul being lifted from the energy that
100%
of the other person. Yeah. So that was kind of how that went with her. And
so what happened when she left?
Okay, so she left. She goes back to Colombia. I go back to Indiana to get my family. I felt guilty. I felt really guilty for what I had did because I knew it was wrong. And I'm thinking about what my brother had told me. I was like, dang, well, nobody could find out about this. Nobody could find out.
I'm going to take this to the grave.
Yeah, I was like, I'm going to just be cool and just like, real player. Like, I'm just bury it. And so I get back. I have guilty sex with my wife. We meet at our house that was empty. And I felt so bad. But and that didn't even hit the same because I'm thinking about Miss Columbia.
Of course.
And so I'm just like, dang, that other chick way better.
Of course.
So then it came out because one night we had our going away party. It was the night before we moved to Houston, and we were in the car, and we were like had our pastor's kids in the car with us, and she was going through my phone. Ooh. And she wanted to send some pictures that were on my phone to herself. I didn't delete none of the WhatsApp messages. Oh, and so, when you send a message, like it pops up like the most recent people that like you've been communicating with. She saw the picture of the girl on WhatsApp and she was just like, who is this? Now she didn't say it. I'm just driving. I'm just like, ha ha ha.
Oh my God.
I'm just living life. And then she's going through it and she clicks it. She goes through the WhatsApp. And next thing I hear, she's just like, I don't know what she said, but something to the effect like, what the fuck? And I'm like, what's going on? And then she just like starts having a panic attack. Like she can't breathe. Like she's getting angry. She's turning red. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And then it clicks. I was like, she saw something. And I didn't delete all of our thread from WhatsApp. Like it was all there. And so then we get to our pastor's house, probably the worst place you can go when you just got caught
probably
cheating.
The best place.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. To the pastor's house because we got his kids in the back.
Oh, man.
So we got to drop them off. So then, we dropped them off and she gets out. She's hysterical, crying, screaming, going off the deep end, punching me in the chest. So he's like, what's going on? And then she's like, he fucking cheated. He cheated. He's a cheater. So I'm sitting there like, with my nuts in my hand, like, damn.
Oh my God.
Not in front of the pastor.
Yeah, in front of the pastor. Karma's a bitch, but go ahead.
So I'm like, shit. We leave for Houston tomorrow. I don't got time to deal with this. I'm a grown man. I made a decision. So what? Get over it. Everybody get over it. That's how I felt in the moment.
Yeah.
So then we got to go in. We got to have confession, mediation,
counseling,
Bible reading, repentance. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, you must have
they're trying to counsel us through it. She's hysterical. She's off the deep end. She's hurt, rightfully so. She had every right to feel how she felt in that moment. But it was just like the total inconvenience of like the place and the timing of when it came out. So, and I remember like thinking like coming back to Indiana, I was like, I should delete this. But a part of me kept it because I wanted to go back in my mind to reread those texts.
Relive, yeah.
To re-see the picture she sent me, to relive those moments. Because I'm like, I still got to deal with this woman. So my escape to like replay my memory with her was going back to our thread. So I didn't delete it. And in turn, that's what got it to come out.
Yeah, that's what happened.
So in that moment, they're asking me like, one thing about me, I'll take a lie to the grave. Like, as long as you believe it, I'll tell it to you. And they were like asking me like, well, did you cheat? Did you cheat? And I was like, no, like, because they didn't know. Because
the thread didn't say anything like, oh, you fucked me so good,
now,
nothing.
It was in there.
But it was like way down there.
We had talked so much.
There was no way back there.
Like,
it was
you
way,
would just
way
have to randomly come across that part of our conversation. I had left my drawers in her hotel room. She sent a picture like, oh, you forgot these. She could have found that. She didn't see that.
Damn.
You know what I mean? So whatever she saw, I admitted to. And whatever she didn't find, I didn't admit to.
I mean, yeah.
So it's like, hey, if you think I'm guilty, prove it. You know, that was that night's situation. So whatever she saw in that thread, it's like, did you do this? Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did that. That's why I did this. Did you have sex with her? No. Nope. Did it say? Did you see something? If you didn't see, now.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It didn't happen.
I just kept it to myself. So, but I honestly don't regret it. I don't regret it. And this is probably, people are not going to like me saying this, but it's my truth. I feel like getting married was more the wrong decision than cheating on my wife.
Unfortunately.
And I'm not saying cheating on my wife
was
the right thing to do. I'm not saying that. I'm not justifying my actions. What I'm saying is I probably should not have been with her to begin with. And there's nothing against her a person, nothing against her as a mom, the children that we've created that we love and raised together. It's just that I don't think that we were the most compatible for each other. I don't think that I was the best person for her life, to bring out the best in her, because I didn't always bring out the best in her. I think I probably brought out a lot of energy.
You triggered each other.
And maybe dark spots in her that are not meant to surface, and vice versa to me. She brought out sides of me that other people don't even get out of me. You know, I think that our compatibility wasn't as high as what we had hoped.
Right.
And so I think that, to me, like, and looking back, if I could redo cheating or redo getting married, I would. I don't regret cheating.
Well, you wouldn't have cheated if you weren't married. So it would have X'd it out.
True. Yeah. But it's like, to me, like, I feel like more of the mistake, like more of the bad decision.
Yeah, of course. I get that. Yeah, because I feel that way too. I feel like I should have never married my husband. And I feel in both of our situations, of course, we got our beautiful children.
Yeah, which we don't regret or would never take back or anything. Like, that's where purpose comes in. Like,
right.
We were meant to be together for the purpose of what, like, I don't become the real estate professional without my ex-wife. Like, real talk, like she held me down to a point that women don't, like, I haven't been able to encounter a woman who helped me so much in the beginning like she did. Like, I said how she was a stay-at-home mom throughout our marriage. But the first 3 years of our dating, she paid for everything. Not even 50-50. It was 100-0, and she was 100, while I built my real estate business for 3 years. And it came to a point where she was like financially exhausted. Like, man, this is a lot on me. Can you help me? Like, she's like, I've been supporting you for these years. I think it's time to, like, get there. And I think I just turned like $27,000 that year. And then the following, after that, I think I hit like 50, like I doubled it. So I was like, oh, finally, I made enough money. You know, back then, $50,000 was actually like some money.
Yeah.
And so, but she would be at my open houses. She'd be on my flyers. She would make cookies for the open houses. She'd be in my marketing. She would refer her friends. My first few clients were her friends. You know, she was such a help to me in becoming the real estate professional that I became. I don't get that dream job if it wasn't for her help in the beginning. You know, so she was a great contributor to my success. So even though when I say like, oh, like, you know, we had no business getting married, or that was like the wrong decision, like, there was still purpose in that. The purpose for me to become who I became, for us to have the family that we did. And so there was still meaning in that. But if I could go back and redo it, I'm still sliding with Miss Colombiana, and I probably would not have married her if I could redo it.
So then you guys try to work it out.
We try to work it out, right? So all this comes out. We have a whole fight that night. Mind you, in the morning, we leave for Houston. In the morning, got our flight, a one-way ticket. Everything, our house has been shipped out. Our cars are shipped out. Like, everything's headed to Houston at this point. So I'm like, look, I'm going to Houston with or without you. And I'm taking these kids. So you can decide if you want to come or not. And if you want to come, when we get down there, we'll figure it out. We'll work through this. I promise you, you know, I'll be better. We'll work it out. So, you know, we get down to Houston. It was rough. It was a very rough landing. This is 2019. So
right before COVID.
Right before COVID. So we landed in Houston on these terms, literally me cheating the night before.
No
So,
friends, no family.
friends, no family, no connections, no nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Just me, her, and our 2 kids, young kids, like ages 2 and
3
about
2,
to be 4.
yeah.
So really young kids, and we're out here on the island dealing with my infidelity.
Yeah, it's rough.
Yeah.
It's rough in these Houston streets.
Not knowing 365 days later, we're going to be going through COVID. Didn't know that part either. So we get down here, right? We have our issues in the beginning, naturally. The pastor that found out that night, he's like encouraging us to like get connected to a church. We need counseling. We need help, blah, blah, blah,
Yeah.
which we did. We ended up finding a church. They kind of walked us through that season. Things got a little bit better. I started, making conscious decisions to love and affirm her and prove that I was growing from the experience. And so things had gotten to what I thought were better. Behind closed doors, I don't think that she ever actually forgave me for my offense.
Of course. It's very difficult to forgive.
Yes. And I think that she felt just as much as I felt abandoned by her, she felt abandoned by me. And maybe I triggered some old issues from her childhood, old issues of abandonment in her childhood, of not being desired or wanted, or people walking out on her in her life.
Especially people who are meant to love you.
Not feeling enough.
Right.
Exactly.
100%.
And I was her husband. So my position in her life was very valuable to her. And I violated her trust. I breached her trust. I broke her confidence in who I was and in our relationship. So I don't think that she actually forgave me, even though it seemed to be getting better on the outside to me. So then time goes on, and we're here in Houston. We're getting settled into our new spot, and we start going to the gym together, Fitness Connection. And there was this...
Shout out to Fitness Connection.
Yeah, that little $10 a month was clutch. So we're working out. We'll work out together. And there was always this guy at the gym that was just like real peculiar. You know what I mean? Like black guy.
Dreads.
Nah, short. He had a wave cut, stocky though. Like he was built, had a nice physique, black dude. And he was just act mad weird at the gym. You know what I mean? Like unnecessarily walk past me too close. He like walk past her like she might be putting a weight on the rack, and he like scoot his dick on her ass like, excuse me.
What?
I'm like, nigga, there's all this room in this whole ass gym and you gonna walk past my wife?
Ooh.
And be like, excuse me?
Ooh.
Like, nigga, who are you, bro? So he was just like making these like, it's like these microaggressions, like these subtle advances on my territory.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, what's this nigga on my land?
Mm-hmm.
So we had a nickname for him. I can't remember the nickname, but he was always real weird. So one day we were walking with our kids. We were up in the woodlands, walking at the waterway, and he was out there at the waterway. Now, Houston's a huge city.
It is.
The probability of you running into somebody in Houston in public is low, especially if you just got here and you don't know a soul. You know what I mean? So I'm like, how is he here? And he wasn't just there. He would be like on the opposite side of the water and be like being extra peacocking, like doing like pull-ups on the trolley bar or like push-ups, like in front of us. Like he would like run over and like get in front and start doing push-ups like right in front of us, so you have to look at him. Or he like would run past us and like look back.
Sounds like a beta, a lion out in the wild.
The nigga was like really playing with me. And I'm not a big dude. You know what I mean? I'm not for the fight and shit. Like, I'll just shoot you. If it really comes out, I'll just pop you. You know what I mean? That's how I felt in the moment. I'm like, this nigga really wants to get dropped.
You were feeling some type of way.
Yo, he was doing too much.
Yeah, for sure.
He was doing too much.
He was trying to tell you something.
And he was peacocking. And once again, I've been around the block enough to know when people throwing signals out. I know the signal. I know what you're doing, bro. You out here showboating in front of my face. So in my head, I know what I'm thinking, but I can't assume it because I have no evidence. Then one random day, I'm working from home. This is like during COVID. So fast forward.
2020, 2021.
This is like, April, May 2020, something like that. We're in quarantine. I'm working from home. And my wife comes into my office one day and she's like crying. And I'm thinking, here we go again. Like, I thought we were getting better. I thought we were making progress. Here's another problem. And I'm like, what's up? And she's like, I need to talk to you about something. And I'm like, okay, what's up? And she was like, I cheated, or I had an affair. I forgot how she said it. Like, I cheated, I didn't mean to do it. And she tells me this whole thing.
She threw up them legs.
In my head, I'm thinking like, it was that fuck nigga from the gym.
Yes, it was.
I was like, I know it was this nigga. I know it. And so I mean, mad.
Did it happen in the car?
I don't know. I didn't
in the bathroom.
I didn't ask. I don't want to know.
Yeah.
I didn't want to know that, because that was not important to me during cheating. When it came out that I had cheated on my wife, I felt like they were asking all the wrong questions, and I told them that. You guys are trying to just cut the weed in half to fix this problem. Really, you're missing the root of the problem.
100%.
So I was like, yeah, y'all ask me all these, where I do with her, where I go with this. That's
why did you do it? Yeah.
That's what we never got to. So when she told me, yes, I was hurt. Yes, I was mad. Yes, I was infuriated. But my thought process went from, okay, why would she do this? Let's get that information out. Let's get to the why. What is he doing for you that I'm not? Because then I could figure out where to go from there. So I never asked her, where'd y'all go? Where'd you do it? Did you give him head? Did you do that? I never asked that because I didn't care. It's irrelevant.
Right, it is.
So I was like, what is he doing for you that I don't? Her number one thing, he compliments me. In my head, I'm thinking all it took was a nigga to say you beautiful, you to throw it up. That's all it takes. That's too easy. It's too easy out here. Like, play the LeBron meme. Like, that's it. I feel like in my heart, like, I had a whole emotional, traumatic experience with you. That's what it took, a woman to tap into my emotion. It just took a, hey, you pretty? That's all it took. You know, so, but what she was really saying was, just like Miss Columbia told me, you haven't been affirming me. You haven't been complimenting me. You haven't been pouring life into me. You don't speak to me well. He does. That's really what he was doing that I wasn't.
Right.
So when she told me this, I was trying to take the lessons from it. And so I was like, you did this out of revenge, didn't you? She was like, yeah. I was like, I thought we got over this. I thought you forgave me. I thought we moved past on it. I thought we were doing better. She's like, well, I guess not.
Well, at least like the score has been settled now.
That's what she said. She's like, well, do you forgive me? I mean, I guess we're even now.
Ooh.
But a part of our relationship had always been revengeful. Like I said, I would pop off verbally to her. I'd be very verbally abusive.
She would put them hands up.
She would be retaliating and hit back at me.
Right.
And we would go back and forth till one person gave in. Until I was finally like, you know what? Not worth my peace. Or she'd be like, you know what? You hurt me too much. And we would just keep going until somebody gave up. So this was no different. It was actually the pattern of our relationship.
Yeah.
So I shouldn't have been surprised. In retrospect, I see it, but in real time, I didn't know this. You know, so yes, it was her getting her lick back on me. But once again, kind of like this was the end. So if the beginning was I started to look at her different because of pregnancy, I started to look at her different now because of infidelity. And not just because she had sex, or I don't know if she had sex, I didn't ask. Just because she did something with somebody else, it was more the fact that like, I can't believe that you would hurt me. You know, it's like it's the hypocrisy of guys, right? It's like, I could cheat on you, but you cheat on me.
Well, guys, it's very difficult for guys. They will serve it, but they can't take it. Unfortunately.
It hits different.
It does hit different.
Okay. Men and women are designed and built for different things. I don't think that men are designed to be taking that type of trauma. Y'all are strong. You're a strong woman.
I am.
You can handle cheating.
Yeah.
You can handle it.
I can, yeah.
Yeah, you're built for it.
Listen, I would have rather my ex say that he banged out 20, 30 women over what really happened. I would have taken that any day over going under federal investigation for 7 weeks.
I feel the complete opposite.
Yeah.
My wife, I hate that she did what she did with whoever. I wish you would have told me you was laundering money. I wish you would have told me that. Because then we could have ran up a dumb bag with my salary.
And your Colombian chick.
Girl, we could have made a whole play. I wish you were in the cartel.
I wish you were your Colombian connect.
But no, you gotta fuck on the nigga at the gym.
And he was like poking his chest out.
He was playing in my face.
Big time. Yeah, that's mad disrespectful.
Mad. And I felt like
we're gonna find you.
I felt like she allowed him to do that, to trick in my face. You know what I mean?
But as a woman, I think that was kind of like, it stings, doesn't it, motherfucker?
Yeah. Once again, that was the pattern revenge of our relationship. It's like, yeah, you don't like that, do you?
And then somebody filed for divorce.
Okay, so she files for divorce. At
How
this point,
after like how long after that?
so she filed for divorce in September, I want to say. It was like I got served the papers right after our anniversary.
Oh,
So how it went was, it was like my first day of therapy. I hired a therapist because I was committed to getting better as a person, irrespective of my relationship with her. I knew that I needed to be better because so much negativity had came out of me that I had never been aware that I could be this evil of a person.
yes.
I could go to this dark of places. I didn't know that. So I needed help. Things had gotten really bad. So my first day of therapy, I'm having a great day. I had a great day at work. I was very productive. I met with my therapist. She was very helpful. Things are looking good. She comes to me. We put the kids to bed. She sits me down on the couch. She's like, hey, I want to let you know that I filed for a divorce today. I erupt. I jump off the handle because I'm like, I'm putting in work to get better. I was committed to getting better. I know I fucked up.
She blindsided you.
She did. Once again, I knew things were bad. I knew things were
But not
bad
that
in our
bad.
marriage. I didn't know they were to the point that you would give up on our family. And I come from a 2-parent household. You know, like divorce is not very common in my family as a whole.
Dynamic, yeah.
You know what I
Wow.
mean? So I'm not, to me, it's like I seen my parents go through bad times. I seen them overcome it. So that's the pattern I have. Like we can get through anything if
Right.
you're willing to work on it. I was willing to work on it. But, you know, so she told me that night. I erupt. I fly off the deep end. My verbal abuse hits level 10 million. I'm like lashing into her verbally. And, you know, she's just, you know, letting me get my piece off. I get mad. I get my keys. I leave. And she's like, where are you going? I was like, it don't fucking matter. I ain't married to you no way now. Don't ask me where I'm going. And I just laughed. I think I just like went to a parking lot and just like cried in the car. And so then we had...
Yeah, the blind side hurts.
The blind side hurt. Maybe like a week or so later, it was our wedding anniversary. So I made a post on IG because I don't want to face the reality. And I make I love my wife, happy 6-year anniversary. You're my queen, you're my everything post and all that on IG. And she's like, don't do that. She's like, don't do it. She didn't post for me. And then like 3 days later, I get the yellow envelope. She left the house. I was working. I get the knock on the door from a middle-aged white woman who's like, you're Lyndon Jones? I'm like, yeah. She like throws it to me, sign here. And I look at it, it's like, you've been subpoenaed by Harris County Court, and the lawsuit against, you know, and I was like, what? And then that's
Dissolve of a marriage, yeah.
That was it. And then at that point, it was kind of, for me, I started going through divorce care counseling. I was still going to my therapist.
I love that. That was the best thing I ever did.
Yeah, it was, it helped me keep my sanity, my balance, and my perspective. Because at that time, at the beginning of divorce, you're so emotionally volatile. No matter you're the offender or the offendee, you're making emotional decisions. You're not thinking clearly.
You're not all there.
You're not. And in my situation, I think I was consumed with anger, with hurt, with betrayal. That like my thought process was really like, all right, how can I retaliate? Because like I said, we got a revengeful relationship. How can I get my lick back on her for filing for divorce? What's the worst thing I could possibly do to you that's short of taking your life? Like what's short of taking your life, but like
get another woman
thing?
Pregnant?
That's crazy.
I know, it really is. But
hell no, that's not a get back. That's a fall off.
But in retrospect, like look at us now.
Now it's great.
You look so
now
good.
It's great. Now look.
The globe went hard.
In the moment, I was so mad at her for doing what she did. But now it was her final act of love to me. Like I literally see like
she let you
I
go.
feel like she loved me so much that she was like, you know what? You're no longer good for me. I'm no longer good for you. We aren't good for our kids together. Let's go our separate ways and continue to raise our kids. It was really an act of love. Honestly, like when I look back at it, I could feel what I feel about her or our personal relationship, but really like she did for me what I was not willing to do for her, which was to let me go.
Let go.
I wasn't willing to let her go. And maybe I should have.
And end the back and forth, revengeful dynamic.
It wouldn't have stopped. I wouldn't have gotten the help I needed. I wouldn't have grown as a person. We would have stayed in that cycle of toxicity until we became consumed with our darkness. That's what would have happened. Then we would have transferred that to our 2 kids and put them right back into the cycle of our generational curse. So what she did by divorcing me, it wasn't a negative thing. And therefore, for me, it was not a failure. We fulfilled our purpose in each other's life. Once the purpose was fulfilled, we both made conscious life decisions that severed us apart. And in a final act of love, she chose that we should go separate ways because that's what's best for everybody.
She ended the cycle.
She ended it. And for that, I thank her. Like, it's not like I don't look. That helped me to, I don't want to say like I have love for her, but like regain the respect that I have for her.
That you had lost.
Because I was not going to do it. I would never have pulled that trigger. And so sometimes.
I filed as well too. And what is it? 67%? I think it's 67% of divorces are filed by women.
Yeah, about 70. Mm-hmm. Yep. And 90% of them make less than their husbands. So guys, if you got money, be careful.
Get a prenup.
Get a prenup.
Yeah. But the glow up was hard.
The glow up was hard in the beginning. And so it was a lot to overcome. And one of my coping mechanisms was like, obviously exercising. So I hit the gym like crazy. I went through a transformation, running, because I couldn't go anywhere. So running is like an escape for me.
You were outside, yeah.
And so I was just like literally just Forrest Gump, just run down the street until I can't run no more. And then, like my rampages.
Hitting the streets.
And so I had to.
Those Houston streets are hard.
Nah, that was my first time in Houston too. I was like, dang, nobody's gonna want me. I'm a baby daddy of 2 kids. I just got divorced. Who gonna want me?
The line was around the corner.
Shit.
Listen, Houston is now a #1 spot for spring break. So
it is.
All the baddies are here.
I didn't know, but I found out very quickly. But for me, I had to purge myself of the love I had for my wife. Like I said, I love my wife with every fiber of my being. Not that I was perfect towards her, but I was always committed to loving her with everything in me. I always wanted nothing but good for her. And so I had to get that love out of me to move on with my life. And so
in all means possible.
In all means, in all areas of my life.
Right.
And so part of it was I wanted to feel desired again. I wanted to feel loved. I wanted to feel wanted by a woman. I wanted to be complimented. I hadn't received those things in probably 2 years at that point. So in dating, that's what I was seeking. I wasn't trying to find girls to marry. I wasn't looking for a girlfriend. I wasn't looking for a wife. I just wanted to be wanted.
Right.
And unfortunately, like when I first was going through the divorce and got out of the marriage, I met a lot of good women in that season who were like really serious, like looking for a thing, which to me is crazy. Like, girl, I just told you I'm going through a divorce. You think I'm about to get remarried?
They don't care, but also because they don't know.
They don't get it.
You don't know what you don't know.
They don't get it, but they caught a part of me that was unique because in the purging of my love, those women that I encountered in that season, I was moving with husband energy. Because all I had ever knew was being in this 10-year relationship. All I ever knew was taking care of a stay-at-home mom. All I ever knew was like being a husband to a wife. So as I'm transitioning from married to divorce, those women that I was meeting, I was moving with the energy of a husband, how I was thinking about them, the questions I was asking, the needs I was trying to meet. Oh, you need help with this? I got you. Oh, let's go grocery shop. Like, guys might not think going to like the grocery store is an intimate thing.
It is.
I will go to a grocery store.
Very intimate.
Like as a date. And she thought it was like the most special thing. We go to a grocery store together, come back to her place. She cook. For her, it felt like, wow, I could see us doing this for the rest of our life. I like this. In my mind, I've been doing this. I've been going to a grocery store with my girl. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
this is the norm.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
Lyndon, you're kind of giving too much emotion.
And this is something that you learned, right? That's why I always say, if you are a freshly divorced person, give yourself some time to heal and to grow. I know you want to be out there fucking, but you have to do it with intention that you're growing and that you're understanding that other people's emotions can get involved.
Are involved too, right? I didn't think that I was hurting those women. Because
you're like, we having fun.
Yeah, we're just enjoying the vibe. And once again, I didn't think too much about it till later, but to them it was like I was playing with their emotions.
Like, and he's it, and I want to be with him.
Leading them on.
I could see myself with him.
Yeah, exactly. All that stuff. So, since I was hurt, I was hurting them. But I'm like, well, I wasn't trying to hurt you. But it doesn't matter if you were trying to or not. You're still hurting somebody.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I had to learn that. So then once enough girls were like getting like shitty with me about how I was moving and I didn't want a relationship, but I was moving like I was, I started to be like, you know what? Let me step out of like dating. And I really just isolated myself, just stayed in therapy, just worked. And then I did that for like 8-9 months. before I came back out, and tried to like re-engage with women again. So at first it was more like a coping mechanism of the hurt and the trauma that I was feeling relationally and emotionally from my divorce. And then I just needed a season of isolation to really like work on my hurts and really heal. And healing is an ongoing process. I don't think you ever, from an experience like that, fully heal. And even when you do, it's not the same, right? Like I tore my Achilles. I'm healed from it. I walk, you can't tell the difference, but I know on the inside, I can't jump on this leg the same as the other one.
100%.
It's the same with divorce. Like, yeah, you heal, but you're not really the same. You just learn how to adapt and function around the injury that you suffered. So yeah, that's kind of how it went down. And, navigating divorce was hard at first, our transition period, but we ended up finding like a good rhythm that works for both of us and try to work together as best we can. So
amazing. Thank you for sharing your story. It was really good and we got into it. And also one thing I want to say is a lot of people are always going to make others wrong for cheating and infidelity, but nobody really asked the core question as to why we do this or why it happened.
Yeah.
So even though I didn't cheat I did not cheat physically, I was probably cheating emotionally because I was telling all my business to another person that was not in our marriage, that was outside of the whole thing. So.
Yeah. Look, cheating is not right, okay? Unless y'all have certain agreements that you communicated in your relationship, right? It's not right at all. It's better to communicate where you're at in the relationship, have a mature conversation and make a educated decision.
Right.
And divorce is not a failure. It's okay to walk away from a relationship that has fulfilled its purpose. It's not about if it fulfills you, the selfish person, but has it fulfilled its purpose in your life? And maybe, just maybe, through human evolution, maybe our marriages are adapting too. Maybe we're more meant for seasons love. Maybe we're not meant to love and be with somebody for 70 years and endure the hardships that come with 40, 50, 60 years of marriage.
I agree.
Nobody's been married that long and had it like peaches and cream. Those people have dealt with a lot in their marriage.
I don't know. My parents
seem
hella happy.
They are, right? But they're still human beings.
Yeah.
They're not perfect. They probably had their spats.
Yeah, at some point, for sure.
Your dad's probably hurt your mom. Your mom's probably hurt your dad in ways that you don't know. And then there's external factors. Loss, job, death, all types of things.
Moving, yeah, 100%.
All those things have an impact on the marriage. So, maybe as we've changed our values, our perspectives as a new generation, as a society, maybe we should adapt our views on our marriages. And maybe it's okay to say, you know what? I was married for 10 years and that was a great marriage. And once it fulfilled its purpose, I moved on and I met another person. There's a lot.
I agree. I'm all about the seasons.
Yeah, but shout out to Miss Colombiana, wherever you are,
yes.
Barranquilla. Thank you. Still love you.
Any last words?
That was my last words. Look, only you get me to talk like this. This was an overshare.
I know.
Overshare. More like
the government doesn't pay me the big bucks to not get info out. So
you're great at what you do.
You're welcome.
You're great at what you do. I appreciate the interrogation today.
Of course.
But, thank you guys for watching another episode of Untying Knots. Check us out for season 4. I feel like every season we get better and better and our conversations get more in depth.
Yeah.
And so just as cheating is not very simple, it's a very complex subject matter. So the future episodes are going to get better and better and more in depth and more complex. So
yes. Thank you.
We will see you next time on Untying Knots.